I took a really hefty amount, which ultimately led to a stroke on my part. My adventure started out in a state similar to complete unconsciousness. I was completely submerged or enveloped by light, to the point where I was unaware that I even existed. It turned out to be a whiteout rather than a blackout. There was a sense of drifting away or implicitly descending from this state of utter absorption. In connection with a divine feminine energy, I became conscious of a divine male energy and how it related to the other. I wasn't there. Rather, I served just as a conduit via which those energies might come into contact with one another. I was overcome with an overwhelming sensation of joy and love that seemed to be burning at an almost incomprehensible intensity. Strange as it may sound, I can't help but picture the bright glow that precedes the detonation of a nuclear weapon. That's how the first flash of lightning looked like. This love was both for me, as well as shared by these two beings with one another. These beings represented the divine archetypal polarity of male and female energy in their entirety. Make an effort to picture this in the most unadulterated form imaginable. The love that the feminine being had for the male being may be described as a form of complete and total surrender. It is not in the sense of one personality having a connection to another. Rather, it is in the sense of archetypal energy in its purest form. She had no idea how stunning she was until he pointed it out to her, and it was an act of unadulterated love and ecstasy for her to reveal it to him. At the same time, the revelation of her ultimate beauty brought about by his love for her served as a metaphor for his complete and total surrender into her. This act of being was similar to sexual activity in the sense that it was completely focused on energy. Both the masculine and the feminine poles of the polarity were experienced at the same moment. That was the most fantastic thing I've ever experienced in terms of how I felt. The love was boundless and self-sustaining, always bringing its recipient full circle. It truly was unconditional love, very much like the symposium that Plato wrote. The divine nature of the feminine aspect being perceived by the divine nature of the male aspect, love, in the form of beauty. Except that in my experience it flowed in both directions, making it possible for the divine feminine to understand the love of the divine male. The experience was like having a higher level oneness of feeling, see, and knowing all at once. In terms of the size of this, it was extremely similar to a fractal in appearance. The sensation was similar to traveling downward or upward through a Mandelbrot fractal. It started off at a tremendous intensity, but you could never claim that it was the ultimate height or end because there was always a kind of fractal form present. On a scale that went on forever, there was always one magnitude higher or lower than what was being discussed. It was like peering into the night sky in the sense that there is a limitless depth of possible understanding, of plunging into it. This was the feeling that I had, a kind of intrinsic wisdom, or knowledge that is inherent in the resonance of that love, or you could simply call it a sense, was present when it became clear that the divine male and divine feminine shared a love for one another when they came to this awareness. The manifest universe was born out of the conflict that existed between the masculine and feminine aspects of divinity, or aspects of divinity working together. To allow this feminine energy to return to this male energy would have been an act of love on the part of the entire existing cosmos. The most fundamental need to reconnect with one another lay dormant beneath the surface of the entire manifest universe. That is the nature of time. That is what it is to have a finite existence. That is something that is embodied in some way by each and every aware being. This tension was brought on by the separation. However, at the same time, there existed a reality that they were constantly joined together. This was the simultaneous reality. This get-together occurred continuously and was always successful in the end. The understanding that love is eternal in some way was a revelation. Therefore, the feeling that they had just rediscovered each other after being separated for an indeterminably long time was something that had been going on forever. I truly overheard my body repeating, "I have always loved you, I have always loved you," as I dropped more out of this higher realm. This occurred as I was falling further away from it. This was not in any way anything that I chose to do. The euphoria was still present in its full force. I was unaware of my own personhood at the time. I can very vividly recall just gazing up at the ceiling and becoming completely disoriented by the light there. The light seemed to emanate a radiance from within that was eternal. I slowly returned to a state of consciousness that was analogous to that of a human being. This encounter was without a doubt the single most meaningful thing that has ever taken place in my life.